Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our live broadcast. It's kind of impressive how many buttons I have to push to get this up and going on the computer. We're in a very complicated setup here. So I can never remember if I got all of them right. Missed something. And I probably complain about it
No
more
way of
often.
automating that process.
Maybe there would be. It wouldn't probably be worth it. Some of it's in Firefox, some of it's on the command line, some of it's in another app. Probably I should have a little sticky note with a checklist. Like I have to put in the title of the video. I have to tell our website that we've started broadcasting. I have to start the audio feed. I have to start the video feed. Anyway, I'm not complaining really, it's just I need a checklist. Okay, so today we're looking at Anguttara Nikaya Book of Fives, Sutta 216. The Dutiya Khanti Sutta, the second sutta on someone who is impatient. Why didn't I pick the first one? I don't know. Well, let's look at them both. Right, we'll look at 215 and 216 because there's some good things. But the real reason I chose this is because I wanted to talk about patience. I think these two suttas talk about the dangers of being impatient. It's useful to know, but I just wanted to talk in general about patience first, at least. Patience is a virtue. We hear a lot about patience. When you think about patience, no one says, I don't ever hear anyone say, man, that person is too patient for me, I can't be around them. Or, oh, I hate that guy, he's so patient, right? You don't find it criticized, is what I mean. It's universally acclaimed, I would say. Patience is, it's not often recognized, right? We don't hold it up as a cardinal virtue, perhaps often enough. I would say it deserves more attention and more appreciation. But it's a curious one as well, because I'm not even sure if patience exists. I can't remember whether it's one of the wholesome Cetasikas or not. Might be. But patience is a curious word. What do we mean by being patient? There are many ways to appear patient, but how do you describe, or how do you determine whether someone is actually being patient, and what does it mean? What is the essence of patience? Because it's possible to repress your impatience, right? If you're waiting for something, waiting for your alarm, your meditation timer to ring, you can suppress that and force yourself to sit. But we tend to agree, well, that's not very patient. That's a person who's impatient, but forcing themselves to bear with their impatience. Like a kid who's restless and sitting and saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? You wouldn't call them patient. So we talk about waiting patiently, and then we obviously then have waiting impatiently. So what it means to wait patiently, it seems, is to be free from that angst, that agitation, that desire for something to occur or for something to cease. And so it appears that what we call patience is actually just another word for freedom from defilement, really, or enlightenment. And so here we have a really good word to describe directly what it means to be enlightened. An enlightened person is patient. A person who is patient, if they're truly patient, it's a sign that they're on their way to enlightenment. Although maybe that's going a little too far. It's a sign that they are able to create mind states that are free from defilement, because you can do this with samatha meditation. People who practice samatha meditation or meditation outside the Buddha's teaching can be quite patient. People who have cultivated strategies to minimize their impatience. But it's the same thing as saying people who have cultivated strategies to minimize their defilements. As it appears that which makes us impatient is the greed and anger and delusion. Basically what we're talking about here is someone who acts out of turn, right? The qualities of an impatient person is that they act at inappropriate times. So a patient person will not react when an impatient person will. In conversation, people who interrupt other people, right? They do sometimes because they're impatient. When of course you're forced to wait in line or wait at the airport, when you're forced to bear with unpleasant situations or long, drawn out events. When you're forced to sit still, stand still. When you're forced to listen to someone droning on and on. When you're forced to bear with heat and cold. The impatient person will react to all of this. They will react if you have the patient person and the impatient person. The impatient person will react first. And they will react to in a way so as to change their situation. The Buddha said that patience, kanti paramang tapodidika, patience is the greatest form of torture. Maybe not torture, but asceticism or tapa means heat, but it was a word that was used for self-mortification or discipline. Maybe discipline is the right word. Patience is the highest form of discipline. Right, we have all these other ways of forcing ourselves or tricking ourselves into bearing with unpleasantness, but nothing surpasses true patience. And this is, I think, really what you feel directly when you meditate. Maybe this is one of the, for all those people out there looking for the benefits of meditation and who find themselves in having a hard time figuring out the actual benefits of meditation. I think you can see this quite clearly and quite quickly, is the patience. That which you were unable to bear previously, you're now able to bear. I think the problem is when we look at benefits of meditation, we're often looking in the wrong place or expecting the wrong things, and we miss what we really get out of meditation. I think patience is one of the big ones. Right, we're looking for wisdom, and by wisdom we think it's some kind of profound thought or insight into reality. I mean, it is quite profound, but perhaps not in the way we think. I mean, patience itself is quite profound. Think of the profound difference between a person who is unable to bear with or be comfortable with a given situation and a person who is. There's a profound difference. A person who is unable to sleep at night and a person who is able to sleep soundly no matter what happens to them. People who are quick to anger and people who are not quick to anger, who are unshakable. People who are addicted and chasing after pleasures, and those who are at peace and content with their lives. Quite a difference. So this is what you should see in the meditation quite quickly, I would think. And certainly as you get better at it, patience is the clear benefit of the practice. So when you feel pain and you say to yourself, pain, pain, suddenly the pain's not a problem. Your reactions disappear. Loud noises, you're kind of surprised, amazed thinking back at how they used to bother you. Heat and cold, amazed by how patient you can be with heat and cold if you just say to yourself, hot, hot, or cold, cold. How much more patient you are with other people, how much more patient you are with your work, how work is no longer arduous, it's no longer torturous, it's just walking, standing, sitting, lying, hopefully not lying, but a lot of movements of the body and activity in the mind, and comes and it goes, and that's it. So that's about patience. Let's look now at these two suttas, because they talk about, give some concrete examples of kind of benefits that come from being patient, if it's not yet clear. So first of all, a person who is impatient, bahuno janassa apyo hoti amanapo. A person who is impatient is going to be what's the opposite of dear? Undear? Disagreeable to appio. Up means not dear to people. It will be disagreeable to many people. This is what you do find. That person is very impatient. It's hard to be around that person. They're so impatient. Oh, you're so impatient. People will scold each other in this way. It's hard to have good friends if you're not patient. I mean, this is, and the opposite is of course true, is the person who is patient is loved by all and is easiest able to be friends. I mean, this is some of the most rewarding friendships come from listening to each other, from being there for each other, right? A friend doesn't always want advice and conversation. Sometimes they just want a patient friend to listen and to be there and to support them. An impatient person, vera bahulo jahoti, has much vera. Vera means enmity, vengeance. Vain in Thai. Vera. Vera is a word that, at least in Thailand, they focus on the concept of this cycle of revenge. When you are in a relationship with someone that is vengeful, when you have a grudge against someone, or you're in a rivalry, feud, a conflict with someone, that's what vera means. And it has sort of spiritual connotations, the idea that it's a thing that goes from life to life. So if you kill someone in this life, you have vain, they say in Thailand. It means in the next life they'll come back and kill you, something like that. It would be anger. So if you meet someone and can't hit it off, they call it vain. Actually, do they really? Vain, mikami vain. Yeah, vain is this idea of vengeance. People get back at you because you have vain with them. So this is what happens if you're impatient. You cultivate conflict. Of course, if you're patient, then even if people get angry at you, even if they hit you, and even if they scold you and say things behind your back, whatever they do or say or think, your patience, your clarity of mind, your objectivity, You see, patience is just such a good word. It keeps you from continuing the conflict. The Buddha said, "Taseva tena papiyo yokudang patikuchati." It's a worse evil, the one who responds with anger to the one who is angry. The one who responds with anger is worse, because they're the ones who... Everyone gets angry, but if we can't be patient with each other, that's how conflict starts. Conflict doesn't start with the first person. You just see someone getting angry, you just let it go. We allow each other to be angry, but if you get angry back, you've started something. You've created a problem, because then it's a cycle. When one person is angry, everyone else should make effort to not be angry. Number 3, vajja bahulo, blame, much blame. Yes, people blame you, or say bad things about you, and you'll do many things wrong as well, right? So an impatient person is the one who kills the mosquito. An impatient person is the one who speaks out of turn. An impatient person is the one who steals when they can't wait for their turn, or they can't wait to get their own. They can't bear the thought of not having something. The impatient one is the one who kills and hurts and steals and lies and cheats, because they're impatient. Do bad things. Number 3. Number 4, samulho kalang karoti. They die with a bewildered mind, confused mind. They do their time, kalang karoti. Kalang karoti means they die, but it literally means they do their time. As samulho, which means confused, bewildered. If you die confused, you don't know where you're going to go. You just grab onto anything. Because of your impatience, you're not able to ponder, you're not able to consider things rationally. You're not able to see things clearly, you're just quick to react, and so you don't ever get a sense of what's really going on. And so when you die, you're very quick to be reborn in one of the more base, coarse realms of existence. Alright, so that's number 5. Kaya sa beda parang marna apayang dugating vinipatang niriyang upapanjati. Which is just a fancy way of saying when you die you go to hell. Or you're born in one of the states of loss. Could be as an animal or so on. Well, here it says niraya, so it's quite possible that out of impatience it gets so bad that when you die you go to hell. Whereas if you're patient, a patient person, because they don't grasp onto anything, their mind when they die becomes very light. There's very little clinging, right? Because there's very little clinging, they're very bright and light, and so they go to a bright and light place, which we know of as heaven. That's 215. 216 is almost the same, just has one difference, I think. Oh, it's a couple of different. So the second one is ludo hoti. Person who is impatient is cruel, fierce. It's an awful person. People who are impatient are ones who do things, who hurt others, who hurt, even the ones they love might hurt, out of impatience, right? They say something and we don't mean it, but we're just impatient. We're not able to maintain our equanimity, not able to see things experience things without reacting. Number 3 is also different. Number 3, vipatisari. They are remorseful. The person who is impatient is remorseful. Goes with that. We hurt others even though we might love them, and then we feel bad about it after. or we do anything. We might engage in our addictions and feel bad about it after. Vipatisari, because of our impatience, because of our inability to have this elusive quality of patience, which turns out to just be, in its best form anyway, wisdom, freedom from defilement, at any rate. The rest of them are the same. That's the two Akantiya Sutta, Akanti Sutta, talking about patience and impatience. That's our Dhamma for tonight. Guess we have at least one question hanging on there. You guys can go.
Sorry about that. I should fix my screen before it seems to take a long time to load up.
Yeah, it freezes, huh? Mine's probably frozen as well, probably.
Finally, sorry about that.
Speaking of patience, we need patience.
In the Chakaka Sutta, it talks about the I and visible forms not being self because they arise and cease. I can see how I consciousness arises and ceases, but it seems to me my I arose while I was in the womb and will not likely cease until after I die. And some visible forms, say a rock, have been around many thousands of years. Many material objects I won't observe arising and ceasing in my lifetime. So how is it possible to see these things as impermanent and not self then? And sort of related to this, are the I and internal I base the same thing? You mentioned they were different in a previous answer, but I didn't understand that difference.
I mean, it's all just very technical. I wouldn't overthink this. It means that at the moment of seeing, there is the contact. I mean, the point is, in Buddhism, we don't acknowledge the existence of the I. The I doesn't exist. This thing here, right? But seeing does exist. What we can experience as being real is seeing. So what we're trying to do is describe what's responsible for this experience of seeing, and it's clear that to see external objects, you require something internal, an I. But that I is considered to be simply the physical aspect of the experience, which arises and ceases. So what it means is the experience, since the experience arises and ceases in a moment, every part of it, whether the physical part and the mental part, all of them arise and cease in a moment. So it's just quite technical, and I mean, you think it's actually kind of pedantic, and you think, well, why don't we just say the I exists? Because we're only talking about reality from the point of view of experience. From the point of view of experience, even none of these things really, practically speaking, exist. They're just aspects of this one thing that we call an experience of seeing. So in the experience of seeing, which is momentary, there's the physical aspect, there's the physical internal aspect, there's the physical external aspect, and there's the mental aspect. And those three coming together those three arising together are the experience of seeing. But in a way, you could think of it as just convention, because you can also see things. You can also see things in the mind without using the eye, without relying on light. So we're just describing, hey, it appears that certain things are physical, right? So you see actual light, and it's touching an actual eye. But in reality, when you see, there's only the experience. We're kind of extrapolating the fact that there's the physical base, physical eye base. So as I said, I wouldn't really overthink this. You're not trying to see that. You're not, practically speaking, trying to see that each and every one of them individually is impermanent. And we're certainly not talking about this physical eye. The physical eye, as you say, is lasting. It's stable. So, that's because it doesn't exist. It's not real. Real is the experience that arises and ceases. I would focus more on that. So it's just that the texts often try to break everything down, and they take each aspect and say, well, each one of them is impermanent, but that's not how you experience it. You experience it as seeing is impermanent. See, seeing arises and ceases. That's how we, practically speaking, see it. That's my understanding of it. And when you talk about physical forms being around for many thousands of years, no, we're talking about the physical form that is a part of that experience. The rock itself doesn't exist. Not from the point of view of experience, which is the paradigm that we use in Buddhism, as you can see. Well, that was all the questions for tonight.
That was it.
All right. Well then, have a good night, everyone. Thanks, Robin, for your help.
Thank you, Bhante. Good night.
Good night.